Well, thank you for joining us on today's Ask the Mayor program. With me today is Councilman Dennis McLain, who is also the chairman of the City of Douglasville's Public Safety Committee. Councilman McLain and I are going to be talking about a very important issue to all of us who live here in Douglasville, and that is the September bond referendum that will build a new police structure, a new police building, public safety building, for all of us who live here in Douglasville. So please stay tuned for today's Ask the Mayor program. Well, Councilman McLain, thank you very much for joining me on today's Ask the Mayor program.
Thank you.
We are here today to talk with you, and you're also the chairman of the Public Safety Committee, and as we know, on September the 16th, there's a bond referendum that will be voted on by the citizens, the registered voters here in Douglasville. And the question is whether they will provide the funding to build a new public safety building. And if one goes back in history and analyzes our situation, of course, we all know that Douglasville has grown tremendously over the last few years. And as we would grow and had additional needs for public safety, the government for many, many years would buy another building in the downtown area and retrofit it and paint it up and spruce it up a little bit, and that became another component of the public safety building or the public safety service. And so now we're in 5 or 6 dilapidated buildings, and it's very difficult for the men and women in the public safety department to do their job. And this referendum, if it passes, of course, is going to provide the funding to build a new structure. As the chairman of that committee, what's your opinion of the needs and what we hope that the voters do on September the 16th?
Well, Mayor, I think you'll have to agree that the needs are great. Not only are they great, but when you talked about buying another building and retrofitting it, I doubt that there's a person living in Douglasville today that can remember when Douglasville built a building for the police, period. Public safety has probably not had a building built that way.
I can't remember, and I've lived here for, now I'm giving my age, almost 40 years. I can't remember a building that's been built specifically for public safety needs.
So what's going to happen if this referendum passes is that we will be able to build a building, not just for today, but for the future. And that's one of the things that we had to sit down and really wrestle with when we got to talking about what we wanted to do, because we could have built a building and had a building that was okay for today, but we didn't want to saddle the citizens with more debt in the near future, because if we do, the cost is going to go up. We know that. It's already gone up.
Sure.
We're already experiencing that. Anything that has to do with petroleum, we're getting hit hard and heavy. Obviously, there's some other building materials that are come down a little bit, and we just feel like that at this point, it's just a good time to go ahead and get this thing done, because if we don't, all we're doing is just putting a burden on the next generation. And we've got a police department that deserves better than what they've got. Mm-hmm. And I think the citizens will realize that this is something that we've got to have, and the support that we see from the citizens right now tell us that that they really are going to step up to the plate and support our public safety.
Well, it's what your committee has done, your committee along with city staff and along with some professionals and along with the police department, you have gone through a long, lengthy process to do a needs analysis to determine what the current needs are for the department to provide good service, safe service, quick response time. And not only did you do that for today, but you looked 20 years into the future. Sure. If I understand what you're saying is the product that you ended up with is something that will serve the needs for today and has expansion capabilities for the next 20 years.
Very much so. And that was the idea behind it. After, you know, you can talk about building a building, and it's probably not that hard to come up with. But what we needed to do was make sure that we were going to satisfy the needs for the next 20 years. And we feel like that we're doing that.
And the other thing that you and your committee, and it was approved by the full city council, in preparation for building this building, is you have secured property that is more centrally located and will provide a faster response time. Because some in our audience may not know that from where we're sitting today in the older part of downtown Douglasville, the need to provide public safety service as far away as 15 miles is required by the Public Safety Department.
Right.
And currently with the building in the downtown area, there was not enough property to build the facility that needs to be built. And you and your committee have actually chosen a site that is basically adjacent to the interstate and more centrally located from all components in the city. Is that the process you went through?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, you talk about me and my committee, and it's really not. It's really the city council in concert that really got together on this thing. I mean, we have worked together as a council, and there's been a lot of meetings, a lot of time we've spent, but the council and you as mayor have all come together and said, you know, let's get it done. And as the saying goes, get her done, and that's what we would like to do. We'd like to see something that we want the police department and all those public safety servants to be proud of where they are. But we also want the citizens to be proud and say, you know, that's ours. And I think it will.
Yeah.
If this comes together, I think they'll be proud of it.
Well, you're exactly right when you were talking about the committee structure. Although we operate under the committee structure, for those in our audience who have been to committee meetings, they know that we run all of our committee meetings at the same time. So all 8 of the city councilmen are in the room, and oftentimes, although we have committees, it's hard to determine who's on what committee because we're all providing our input. So you're exactly right. It is unanimous that all of the councilmen throughout the city have supported and have worked on this very, very important project.
You know, when we talk about the public safety and we talk about our policemen especially, just yesterday afternoon I happened to be at the police administration building, which is a little place down the street here that they have to work out of right now. And the deputy chief came through in full uniform, and about 3 minutes later he came back and had on shorts and a t-shirt. And the chief said to him, are you off and gone? He said, yeah. And I said, well, where's he going? He said, well, he's got a soccer team he's got to go coach. But he'll be at the council meeting at 7 o'clock. Don't worry about it. And that's the kind of people that we have on our police department. Now, that was one officer, but there was 2 other officers that also helped him coach that little soccer team. And I thought, you know, there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of dads and a lot of moms that do the same thing. But here was a guy who was on duty. He's on duty 24 hours a day, by the way, not just for 12. But here's a guy that got over there, got that little soccer team out there, played their heart out, I'm sure. And sure enough, council meeting at 7 o'clock, and there he sat, full uniform again. So, you know, they give a lot.
Yeah,
they don't just take.
I remember last night when he came in and brought his laptop with him. And
yeah.
As we were starting the meeting, he was powering up his laptop. So
working on things, yeah.
That's exactly right. Councilman McLain, I know that you travel a lot with your business throughout the state, and you have had an opportunity to really work closely with our police department, look at the facilities, look at what they have available to use to provide good public safety. How do we stack up with some of the other places that you have an opportunity to go?
Well, Mayor, I've been to some of the other facilities, especially some of the newer facilities that have been built by sister cities that are about our size. And, you know, obviously at this point, we're way behind. But what we're trying to do now is play a little catch up and get to where we need to be. Even some of the smaller cities, now they won't have as large of building, but they have much nicer facilities than we do for their public safety and their municipal court and things like that. But you know, this is something that that I see all the time, and we have to remember that we're I believe the 30th largest city in the state of Georgia, and when you start looking and take that top 30 and start working down, we're a little bit behind, and we need to. We're going to catch up on this, and I'm sure we will.
Well, you know, for those who we mentioned earlier, for those who had an opportunity, they could come in and look at the facilities. I know our city TV staff has a lot of footage on various buildings and looking at buildings and things like that. Maybe it would be appropriate to break away here and have some of that footage, which is unedited, by the way, that folks would have an opportunity to look at. Do you think that would be a good idea?
That'd be a great idea.
Okay, well, let's
Let
do
them
that
see
now.
it.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Joe Wilson, and I'm your police chief here in the city of Douglasville. The purpose of my few moments today is to let you know that myself and other members of our command staff are available to come out and talk to your homeowners group, your civic organization, your church group about the needs for a new police department for the employees and for the citizens of the city of Douglasville. If you will just call us at 770-920-3021 and ask for myself. If I'm not available, Becky will field your call and we'll get back in touch with you, and we will make arrangements at your convenience for someone to come out and talk to you. And I think when everybody hears and sees our needs and sees what we're doing and why we're doing it, I think that you'll all be in favor of a new public safety building to increase our effectiveness and efficiency. Thank you so much, and we appreciate your support. Thank you.
Councilman McLain, I know one of the questions that we've been asked from time to time is when the police move from their current facilities, which are here in the downtown historic part of Douglasville, how is that going to affect public safety for the merchants and those that are downtown? I wonder if maybe you could talk a little bit about some of the City Council's plans after the new building is built and after the police department moves into that new building with respect to continuing to provide good public safety in the downtown area.
Right. In the downtown area, the Douglasville City Police will still have a precinct there, right where they are now at the corner of Bowden and
Church Street.
Church Street. And that's nothing more than what should be done, because we do need a presence in the downtown area, because our downtown area is very important to us, and we need that presence here so that we could always service this area the way it should be serviced. And I know they do a good job of it now, and I know they'll do a good job of it in the future.
Sure, but this central location we're talking about will provide quick response time basically on an equal basis. In other words, they can drive a car from that facility. Not that they sit around the police building drinking coffee and smoking cigarettes. Well, nobody smokes today, hopefully, but drinking coffee and waiting for a call to come in, because the police department work in zones. I wonder if maybe you could talk a little bit about how that works and how that enables them to get to any call very, very quickly.
Yes, they do have zones. Those zones are set up where that if you were around at the police department over here at 5:30 in the afternoon, there's a lot of people begin to converge. Now, there's a lot of officers that are working cases that are in the field then, but your officers that are coming on at 6 o'clock, they're gathering, they're going through their meeting, they're being brought up to date on what's happened in the last hours while they were not on, and then they're out in the field. They've got different zones that they go to, and they'll be in those zones for the duration of that shift. It doesn't mean that they are not going to give support to another officer if the officer needs it. And two, one of the things that listening to the police radio from time to time, if somebody needs help, they've got it. I mean, somebody's got their back door at all times. And they also can get help from the sheriff's department. And that's one of the things. They work so good together. Our sheriff's department and our police department really do a good job working together. And every once in a while you'll hear them call for a K-9. And if you've ever heard it, you got a K-9 officer on the ground with a K-9, and they're trying to talk to him. It's a huff and puff. I mean, you know, he's trying to keep up with that dog, but you know, they get the job done. And that's what they're going to do. I mean, they'll be there. They're out in the field, and hopefully, I like to see them out riding around speaking to the citizens and taking care of those that have to be taken care of. We don't like to have to do some of that, but that's part of police work.
Well, you know, one of the things that we are trying to do is encourage people to look at the facilities before they make up their mind whether they're going to support this initiative or not, to just take 10 minutes out of their day, any day, and it can be any day, night or day, 24 hours a day,
Right.
because they're always on duty, to just drop by or just call and make an appointment if they want someone to meet them. And they will receive a personal tour of all of these facilities. Some of them they may not want to go in. Some of the areas may be covered with plastic to keep the rain from getting on the desk and the papers and things like that. But they will have an opportunity to go in. And I know you've gone through some of those.
Been through them all.
And that's something that we would really like people to do, because unless you have seen the facilities and how really not only dangerous are they to the people who work there, but some average citizen who may just go there to file a complaint just next door in those facilities, they may have a person that's been arrested and basically they're chained to the wall. But there are no holding cells. There's nothing really to accommodate those people who have been arrested until they can be the paperwork filled out and they can be taken to the Douglas County Jail. And I believe the process is if they call 770-920-3000, they'll arrange for a tour. Is that correct?
If they'll call that number and ask for the chief, he'll do everything in the world to personally give them a tour. And he's already told me that whoever needs to take a look at it, you show up, he'll get you through it. It would be nice if you give him a call ahead of time,
Sure.
because if it's going to be at 3 o'clock in the morning, he would need to get up and be here, because he's not
Right.
going to be here at 3 o'clock probably. But if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, he'll make it. Don't worry about that.
Well, and for those of us, or for those in the audience who may not know, Chief Joe Wisnant is a police chief. And if you ask for him or any of his fine officers, they will arrange for a personal tour to go through this. And I do think it's important for people to see
It is.
what they're voting on and what really their tax dollars are paying for.
Very much so.
Councilman McLain, I appreciate you taking the time to come in and talk with us on today's Ask the Mayor program.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
My pleasure.
Hello, I'm Joe Wilson, and I'm your police chief here in the city of Douglasville. The purpose of my few moments today is to let you know that myself and other members of our command staff are available to come out and talk to your homeowners group, your civic organization, your church group about the needs for a new police department for the employees and for the citizens of the city of Douglasville. If you will just call us at 770-920-3021 and ask for myself. If I'm not available, Becky will field your call and we'll get back in touch with you, and we will make arrangements at your convenience for someone to come out and talk to you. And I think when everybody hears and sees our needs and sees what we're doing and why we're doing it, I think that you'll all be in favor of a new public safety building to increase our effectiveness and efficiency. Thank you so much, and we appreciate your support. Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us on today's Ask the Mayor program, and a special thanks to Councilman Dennis McLain for taking the time out of his busy schedule to come in today to talk about this very, very important issue. Thank you again for joining us on today's program.
My name's Marsha Hampton, Community and Downtown Services Director. My City TV is downtown.
Join me today for another edition of On the Agenda.
Hi, my name is Patty Ellis, and My City TV is full of information.